This is the proper forum. You just get it out here, and then you can.
I know, but it's
going to
go all over Twitter. Can't we just edit out that one little itty bitty F-bomb in
We
between
can't
Mary
edit out
Christmas?
anything. I don't edit my podcast, and you've cursed like 6 times so far. So I think at this point, it's. I don't think it's worth going back and trying to just take out one. Hey, just be who you are, okay? This is the problem with the country at this point right now, is everybody is so focused on like, oh, did I say this? Did I say that? Am I going to offend somebody? Whatever. Should I say half a sentence? Am I allowed to use this word? It's like, it's got to be so exhausting for people. I mean, not for me, because I just say whatever I want, but like for people that are out there and are overtly concerned with, I said the other day, you can't even mention certain days of the week now, Something happened on a Tuesday 158 years ago. So we can't, nobody has to work on Tuesday anymore now. It's out of control. There's so much shit. I used to think that the holiday schedule every year, you got Easter, you got Christmas, you got October, you got Thanksgiving, you got Halloween, you got New Year's Eve, you got New Year's Day, you got President's Day, you got Flag Day, you got fucking George Washington's birthday, you got Martin Luther King Day, you got Arbor Day, you got fucking Flag Day. I used to think every Mother's Day, Father's Day, and then the birthdays and anniversaries of you and every single person that you've ever met. It's a whole year of just nonstop shit. And then once you get to the end of the year, the fucking year starts all over again. And you gotta do everything all over again. I used to think that was exhausting beforehand. Now, with the PC culture and all the things coming out of woodwork, it's like, can I just get a normal Wednesday in there somewhere where I can just wake up? I don't have to buy anybody a card. I don't have to fucking salute anything. I don't have to, go on Twitter and virtue signal my cause. Hey, I stand with all farmers or whatever. It's just, Jesus. Can I just have a fucking day that's just a normal day anymore? Sorry.
You know what? I think I think that the break point here, and by the way, I was totally hosed by everything you just described, because it took me like too long when I was on Wall Street to realize I thought it was flattery, because I was asked as a salesperson to come in and join these 2 great Jewish guys. And somebody finally pulled me aside and said, they need somebody to work on Jewish holidays. And I went, oh, I thought they just liked me. Because you didn't put any of the Jewish holidays into that rant you just went through. Anyways,
for which I will be labeled a racist, I'm sure.
Well, oh gosh, please, give me a break. But you know what changed for me? I'm just going to have a personal moment here. What changed everything for me is COVID. Nobody wants to talk about COVID. It is the ultimate Voldemort. It's and I do it on Twitter on purpose, and I actually lose followers for doing it. I bring up Hong Kong with good frequency. Carrie Lam is no friend of the people of Hong Kong, city of 8.5 million people. No friend. She first hears about COVID when she's out of Hong Kong. She's at someplace on the mainland at some dinner, and she first hears of the COVID outbreak. She immediately tells the people of Hong Kong to not wear masks, to which the SARS-scarred people of Hong Kong say, well, we know she's not our friend, so we should typically try and do the opposite of what she suggests. So a complete and total social media-backed grassroots effort. They get masks on everybody. They have 1, 2, 3, 4 people die of COVID-19, and they go about their business of keeping stores open, keeping restaurants open, keeping everything open. I am not an epidemiologist. I'm not a medical doctor. I don't know squat about mask efficacy. But what I can tell you is that if you want to reopen the United States economy, wear a mask, because then the fraidy cats, me, will spend more money. Harvard came out with a study yesterday. 25%. The highest income earners, the highest 25% of income earners in America have spent the least. They've cut their spending by the most in a post-COVID world. They won't leave their houses. because, according to the Pew Institute, 49% of the highest educated post-degree holders believe in masks. So this whole COVID thing, the fact that it's been politicized, has totally changed the way that I approach Twitter and my Twitter followers. And I'm not doing it because of something philosophical, and I'm not doing it because of a healthcare issue. I'm taking my tack is pure economics. Open up the U.S. economy. Get it going again. If we're a consumption-driven economy, we need to consume. It's kind of easy to figure out. Put on a mask, call it a day, and open the economy. And now where I'm in Texas, we have got COVID cases going through the roof because nobody wears a mask here, because if you do, then you're anti-Trump, so you've got to make a political statement. And our economy is shutting back down. And so, but my point is, and I promise I have one, the whole COVID thing has changed how I approach social media. If you're going to be somebody who's like, I don't wear a mask because I've got my principles and I stand on liberty, and I'm like, how about standing on the U.S. economy and making sure that the Chinese don't take it over one day? Put on a mask and shut up, and so that people who spend a lot of money can get out in the economy and spend a lot of money. I've blocked more people in the last 3 months than I've blocked in the last 3 years. Period. End.
Yeah,
that was my rant.
The mask thing was very interesting from the get-go. There were a lot of things that people were calling bullshit on back in January. I remember watching that first World Health Organization press conference where, they said this is a global health emergency once, and they said, thank you, China, you're wonderful, about 15 times. And I was like, something, and I didn't know shit about the World Health Organization at the time, so I was coming in with a blank slate. I didn't know anything about the director or really anything about them at all.
You mean the Chinese puppet director?
Correct. That would be the one that I'm talking about. And so off the bat, I was like, this is leaving a very bad taste in my mouth. And another thing that did that was this big push at the beginning of the pandemic, which was don't wear a mask. You don't need the World Health Organization and the CDC is encouraging people not to wear masks. By the way, we need masks for the first responders. It's like, okay, well, if they need them, why don't we need them? If they're not effective for us, why are they effective for them? I understand priority order, but don't tell us that they don't work, that they don't do anything. Every time there's an epidemic in China, which is like once a year probably,
yep.
All you do is, even when somebody's got a cough in China, even Asian people here in the U.S., when they get sick, they walk around with a mask on. I mean, do people not understand that that's being done for a reason? I mean, how stupid do these people think that we are, that when they said stuff like that, don't go out and buy masks. And people are going to be like, okay, I don't need a mask. But that's, like you said, you got people down there that don't want to wear masks, and that's ultimately what happened. And until 2 months later, after the fact, kind of we're running epidemic policy the same way we're running monetary policy, which is kind of
exactly
shoot first and fucking ask questions later, right?
Yeah, it's all about cleaning up the mess. That's all it's about. It's like coming in afterwards and cleaning up the damn mess. Like Jim Grant says, the Fed is both arsonist and firefighter. It didn't have to be this way. And don't get me wrong. I mean, it's been a long time since we've had a pandemic happen upon the country. So, we're not exactly Hong Kong ready because we're scarred from SARS. Right. I get that. It was definitely a huge shift in the way we approached daily living. But, we need to open the economy, and people they can't equate educated, high-income people not coming out of their homes with masks. They can't connect the two dots, and it's just, there's the word again, it's asinine. Anyways, now I've made a lot more enemies. I've just gone south of 100,000 followers on Twitter, and I really don't care.
This is the place to do it. I got news for you. I'm still astonished that China has reported, officially only 83,000 infections out of the country.
Oh, please.
And of course, that's nonsense. But the astonishing thing is that the media and the World Health Organization continue to run with those figures. The FT published that figure in a graph with the number of cases in the U.S. in an article that basically was like, oh, look at what a terrible job the U.S. is doing. and it showed our line, far outpacing these other countries. And it's like, well, if you had the objective data from China in there, it wouldn't look like we're the ones that don't have our shit together, because they probably have millions, if not tens of millions of cases. But that didn't stop Paul Krugman from, it wasn't FT, it was the New York Times. That didn't stop Paul Krugman from turning around and using those figures to say, oh, hey, we're doing such a terrible job in this country. We're really fucking this whole thing up. And it's
for God's sake.
How can the media, Danielle, how can the media not acknowledge that those figures have to be false? I mean, wouldn't you think that that's a Pulitzer-worthy scoop somebody could get?
Oh my gosh! Look, I did an interview a few months ago, a few weeks ago, whatever, on a platform called Valuetainment. Patrick Bet-David, he's got like a cult following. I only did the interview because it was right here in Dallas, and I didn't prepare properly. I thought we were going to talk about what you and I are talking about right now. It's just Fed policy, blah blah blah. And he drops a bomb on me, asked me a question about COVID, and I went on a rant, and now this thing's had over 20 million views worldwide.
Hell yeah.
93 minutes, completely viral, because I said the following. I said the first documented case in Wuhan of COVID-19 was on November the 17th.
Right.
The trade deal was due to be signed on January the 15th. The Chinese decided to keep it under wraps because their economy was at the lowest in 30 years, so they needed the trade truce that they knew they were going to renege on, which had an out clause in it. I mean, it's right there. Unforeseen circumstances. And I went and did research, and it's very rare to see any of these out clauses, these force majeure clauses inside trade deals. You see them in industrial contracts if it's LNG in a tanker, but you never see them, almost never, very rare. And China asked that it be put into the trade deal in September. So they wait and to leak the news about COVID until after the trade deal is signed with the out clause, so they don't actually have to do anything that they promised to do in the out clause, and then they announce COVID. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, all of these Chinese people are traveling all around the world, spreading it to kingdom come, because China couldn't say that COVID was COVID until after they signed the trade deal. So they couldn't close borders and prohibit traveling until afterwards. So it lands in the outskirts of Seattle in an expat community. It lands in northern Italy, where all the Chinese workers make the made in Italy bags. It's pretty simple and easy to document, and why nobody in major media has done this is infuriating to me.
It is infuriating.
This was all about money, and it's the hot war button one more time, because if there's anything that China has taught us with COVID-19, it's that they're willing to sacrifice their people. And if we do end up going to a true war with them, they will sacrifice their people ruthlessly, mercilessly, in order to ensure their economic position in the world, which is what war is all about at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right, and I think it is even more infuriating that if you do something in this country like question monetary policy, or you do something in this country like question the origins of COVID-19 or the date that it was established, you're labeled as a conspiracy theorist and not a patriot, which I think is just disgusting. I mean, the shit that has been said to me for just simply suggesting that China may have misled the world about when this thing started, and I'm not pulling it out of my ass. There was a report on Fox News a couple weeks ago that said they may have known about it as early as August. There was an article this morning that I read that said that they had found traces of COVID in the sewage in Italy, in Milan and Turin in Italy, and in Barcelona in December of 2019. So the shit doesn't get to the sewer systems in Barcelona in December 2019 if, it just kind of popped up in mid-November. It's just nonsense and bullshit, just like the number of infections there. It's just, you just have to use 3 or 4 seconds of critical thinking skills, of common sense, to understand that this is likely not true. Yet nobody will touch it. People won't even touch it. They won't.
They're afraid. It's like, I'm telling you, it's something that cannot be discussed because it's been politicized in America.